we can go ahead and get started with some introductions.
Yes.
Today, if I haven't met you yet, I'm Jeannie Henderson, the owner of Jeannie Cleaning in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I am currently the chair of the ISSA Residential Council. And today I am filling in with the lovely Libby DeLucian, who's in Florida. Libby, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Libby DeLucian, and I own Organize It. We are the most organized cleaning company in the world. I started mine a little bit backwards. I started as an organizer and added cleaning, where most people start cleaning and add organizing. We have 3 locations, and I sit on ISSA council with the lovely Jeannie as well. And me and Jeannie will be speakers at ISSA the national convention. So if anybody's going to be there, make sure to see us, but also stop at the ISSA booth so to find out more information and all the fun things that we're doing during the show.
Yeah, so if you are signed up to go to the ISSA show, let's open the chat and everybody who's going, put I'm going in the ISSA chat. I know I'm very excited about the show this year. We have a lot of great speakers, Libby included. I see some of our council members here, so I want to thank Stacy Conkle. Good morning, Stacy. She's our vice chair, and she's also leading our ambassadors committee. And I see Bruce Vance. Good morning, Bruce. Thanks for being here. Beth Derrickson. Good morning, Beth. Is also on our council and also on the show committee. She helps to plan our show and has been doing that for years. Any other board members or council members here? I'm trying to see. And let's see, we've got some ambassadors. Stacy, would you like to introduce our ambassadors who are here today? And maybe tell
Sure. Let's
people
see
a little
here.
bit about who the ambassadors are.
Yes, yes, yes. So, you were talking to me, right? With
Yes,
Stacy?
yes.
Awesome.
Hi,
All right.
Stacy Stiglich too.
Yes, yeah. All right. So ambassadors are volunteers that help us just amplify the voice of ISSA residential. We do a lot of sharing, a point of contact. And so today we have, let me just scroll through these photos here. Well, Marlo is a past ambassador. She's always pretty involved. So we've got let's see, James out in Canada. We have, here we go.
It's
I'm
hard to find
scrolling, guys.
everybody.
I
Yeah.
know.
I see TJ.
TJ, there he is. Yeah, I think, right? That's it. So we have James, TJ, and myself on right now. I don't know if Lacey's here. If you are, speak up, lady. I don't see anybody else.
Okay, good. Well,
All right.
we're
Yeah.
very grateful for our ambassadors, and Vicki Brown is joining right now. Vicki Brown is
Okay, great.
also on our council as an emeritus member. She's been involved with ISSA for many years, so welcome, Vicki. So thank you everybody for being here. We're excited. We're preparing for the show. Was just talking with Aaron about all the great things that we're going to do there. One of the things that we're going to do is host a coffee and conversation live. Libby, you're going to be involved with that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Can you
I'm
tell
going to be
people
helping.
kind of what the plan is?
I'm going to be helping mainly with like audio, video, and also if we need help hosting. But it's going to be super fun to just interview you guys kind of on the fly of what you guys are up to, what's working, what's not working, current struggles, because I think we're all feeling some of the same struggles. But I think it'll be different, but it'll be really fun and engaging for us to connect with some people maybe that we haven't got to see on Coffee and Conversations, or maybe they don't even know what it is yet. That way we can also grow our monthly participation as well.
Yeah,
we're gonna have a prize for everybody that'll be there.
Coffee?
Oh.
I don't know if it's gonna be coffee, but we're gonna
we will have coffee. Libby said she was buying, so I have it.
Yes,
I have
did,
it recorded.
Someone said something about coffee and Kahlua, but I don't know if that's allowed.
Oh yeah, there will be an open bar there, correct? Or a bar.
It's not a bar open bar, but there is a bar.
There's a bar open. The other way around. There's a bar open.
There's a bar. There's always a bar open on the show floor, just so you know. But yes, there will be a bar
there. You can walk your coffee over and
yes.
Yeah. But we might be able to work out some things for that too. We just need a sponsor. We just need a sponsor for that. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Uh, Erin, would you like to introduce our guest, Stephen?
I can do that. And actually, hold on one second. Stephen has come to us. He is an author and a speaker, but he had come to us through one of our ambassadors. That's not our ambassadors, our show committee. Like, one of the things that our show committee really does is they go out and they look, try and identify some different, speakers and topics that really resonate, like, with our audience. With our first particular our residential community, what is it that we're looking for? And so I'm going to pull up his bio here real quick, but it was Robin Murphy brought him to us, and I am not finding his bio here, and I apologize, Stephen.
How about we do this? So welcome, Stephen. I'm Jeannie. Good to meet you. And so Libby and I are filling in today for our regular host, so we're excited to do that. But yeah, so let's just get to know each other. So Stephen, I've been checking out what your business does. It looks really exciting. We're excited to have you as one of our speakers at the ISSA show. Marketing and branding are a huge need in the residential cleaning industry. There are a lot of people who say they do these things, but they don't really do them well, or they don't have the experience. So tell us a little bit about yourself before you get started with teaching us something today.
All right, perfect. So I'm a partner in an organization called the Wizard of Ads. And we have a lot of depth of experience building home services businesses. Home cleaning will be a relatively new space for us, but we've done a lot of work in heating and air conditioning, electrical and plumbing, all of those, which have very similar issues in terms of building trust and getting into the home and all those other things. And some of the better known customers of ours that you may have heard of is companies like 1-800-GOT-JUNK, Gettle Heating and Air Conditioning, Morris Jenkins, in the Carolinas. Those are some of the businesses that, as Wizard of Ads partners, we've worked with and really grown. If you're in the Austin area, Radiant Plumbing, we had them right from the days when it was just two people. And that's our sweet spot is really growing the owner operated businesses. That's our sweet spot. That's our passion. That's what we love doing. And I've been blessed to have the opportunity and speak at a lot of really fun places. I'm looking forward to Vegas, but I've also had the opportunity to speak at London Stock Exchange, at NASDAQ. I've been at Oxford University, Temple University, Beverly Hills Chamber of Commerce, and all of these places really talking about storytelling and the power of sharing your story, and how taking your story and turning those into marketing assets ends up becoming a really, really a very, very powerful thing, especially in the home services space, which relies very deeply on trust. You're being invited into somebody's home. And I'm going to say, in terms of the home cleaning, there's an extra piece of intimacy involved in that relationship. I know it seems strange to say it that way,
No,
but I
it's
think for
true,
a lot of
because we
people
pick
it
up
feels
people's
that way.
underwear.
Mhm.
Well,
It's
yeah.
very intimate.
Well, and it feels, and you're inviting somebody into your home and into your bedroom and into your bathroom, and you're allowing somebody to see you not at your best, because the hope and desire is you're going to turn me into my best. Right?
Yeah. We
That's the goal.
also create transformation, kind of like you
Yes.
do. We create transformation for our customers. But yeah, so I'm excited. So what's your topic that you're speaking on at the ISSA show this year?
Is using how to use stories to sell your services. And one of the things I'm going to share in it is some techniques and tricks that you can use that can take things like case studies and testimonials and things along that lines, and basically what can you do with those things that actually turn them into a compelling story. Also going to be talking a little bit about why you want to use story, and why entertainment is a really important part of getting your message out there.
Okay, wow. That's exciting. That's great.
Yeah.
So will you be giving us a little preview of that today?
Sure,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, great.
So the,
Oh,
the so the first piece I want to talk about, and this is probably, so first of all, I'm very frustrated with the marketing and advertising industry, because when you take a look at it, businesses have invested huge amounts of money into creating ads with the hope and the desire of building their business. And it's no secret in the world today any longer, I don't believe, that storytelling is powerful. I don't think that is in dispute any longer. I think people like Nick Dawes and Chip and Dan Heath, with Made the book Made to Stick and story selling, and the amount of literature that's out there, I don't think it's in dispute. And what I've even seen traveling the world speaking about storytelling, no one disputes it. No one comes up to me and says, no, it's full of crap, stories don't work. Okay, so we're all on that same page and we all accept that. When you're driving around in your car today, how many ads are a really great story? When you're watching the television today, how many ads are a really great story? When you visit somebody's website, how many websites have a compelling story that draws you into that business? Very few. So why are we not doing it? We know it works. Why are we not doing it? And I believe the challenge for many businesses boils down to a couple of things. And when we get past these couple of things, I think it becomes easier. First of all, when we look at a lot of the business books, the story technique that they're often presenting to use is one. Is it Jeannie? I missed
Jeannie,
the
yes.
Jeannie. Okay, so Jeannie, it's one that, yes, your business is about transformation. So a natural storyline that somebody would take you to would be, let's tell the hero's journey story. So if any of you ever seen the Joseph Campbell's work on The Hero with a Thousand Faces, so which is an ancient storyline, it's an amazing storyline. It has a hero, which is your customer. It has you, which you get to be a mentor. You get to showcase your expertise and you take them through a transition. And it's an awesome storyline, right? It's great. However, it's hard to tell in a short period of time. It's hard to tell that in a 60-second ad or a 30-second ad or a postcard or any of those things. It's a long story. It's hard to tell it in this short and compressed manner. And I actually think this is one of the biggest reasons why we struggle to tell stories, is because we struggle to find shorter stories that we can tell. We don't have to tell the entire story. So let me ask you, is it okay if I ask people some questions here?
Yeah, please do.
All right. So I'm going to make a bold assumption. If I'm wrong, call me out on it. Bold assumption, trust is really important in terms of what we sell. Am I good with that? Am I good with that assumption? Okay. All right. So what are some of the things that we're doing to build trust today? What are we doing to build trust with our potential customers and customers? What are we doing? What are some of the things? Throw some
Everybody
ideas out.
can write in the chat, but also if you want to, is it okay if they unmute and talk with you?
Absolutely.
Okay, so if
Absolutely.
somebody wants to
I want to hear
unmute and
ideas.
talk with Stephen about building trust, that would be great.
Good communication, so consistent communication.
Awesome. Absolutely important. Yep.
I do a lot of video to help build trust because, they need a face to their brand. So I think video helps build trust through that like marketing funnel and then all the way into landing the client, converting them and keep them.
Fantastic. And we're going to come back and I'm going to ask you some questions on the video, but absolutely, you're right on a
He's
whole
the right
pile of
one to
stuff,
ask.
Libby. Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
great
What
at
I
video.
also see somebody said testimonials, reviews. Awesome. Connecting and relating. Summer, you had something?
Hey, Stephen.
Yeah, often.
Sorry.
So I have the cleaning software. So it's a software for cleaning industry, but I've been in the industry for 17 years. So
Right.
that I tell that story to our customers and demos so that they understand I've been there, and that does seem to help.
Cool.
Hey, Steve-
Cool. And one more.
Stephen, I want to add to that as well. One of those is transparency, and someone already said it, but the other is being available for follow-up questions to make sure there'll be somebody to answer those questions after the booking is done.
Okay, perfect. So here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to write down all the things that you do to build trust, all the things you do. So there's going to be a whole pile of things. Over the next couple of days, as you think of something, write it down. After you've created the list, I want you to go back and take a look at that list and ask yourself this question. How many of those things happen before you meet the customer, and how many of those things are happening after you meet the customer? Because what you will find, I believe, if you're like most of my customers who I've had do this, the vast majority of things on the list will be things like transparency, communicating well, honesty, integrity, showing up on time, doing a good job. All those things happen after you've started working with them. Marketing, goal of marketing is to bring people to your door. So really the question is, how do we build trust before we meet them? Because the best marketing in the world would have somebody coming to you already with a degree of, I trust you guys, I know you guys, I believe in you guys, right? So I'm going to really agree with something Libby's doing. We're going to explore it a little bit more. So Libby, you said you're doing videos. Videos are great. And I agree with you when you say face of the organization is important, because people bond with people bond with ideas, and people bond with movements. People do not bond with companies.
And with pain.
Well, they avoid pain. They run away from pain, but they actually bond with. Now, they may bond with a shared pain.
That's what I meant by pain, like shared
Okay.
pain, understanding. Yeah.
But at its core, when it's a shared pain, I'm really bonding with that person who shares the pain with me. But so in your videos, what do you share in your videos?
It depends on where they're at or what they're for. So if they're for more awareness, it is understanding how they feel, what they're going through, because I
Yep.
am my own ICP.
Okay.
And then if it's more towards bottom funnel, then it's more testimonials, case studies. So it depends on where you want it. And then in the middle funnel is more about like tips and guides and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Awesome. So some of it's informational.
Some of it's awareness, informational, and then yeah.
Okay. Do you share personal stories?
Yes. Just did one this morning.
Do you share weaknesses and vulnerabilities?
Yes, all the time.
Okay. What type of personal
You
story
guys all
do you
know how messed up I am.
Okay, perfect. Do you what type of personal stories do you share?
Mainly about like for the cleaning company, mainly about understanding how it feels to like not trust people to come in their house, or struggling as a working mom and juggling kids and a 40-hour a week job. And so the relation to
So do you share a
those things
story such as this? And
with my
I'm just want to be
kids.
cognizant. I just want to be cognizant of the time
Mhm.
here. So sorry I interrupted. But do you share a story like this? What do you have kids, Libby?
Yes,
How old are your children?
26, 16, and 6.
Okay. Wow, that's 26 to 6. Wow. Hold on a second. I just had to do the math. Let me grab my calculator here. I had to do some weird math in my head. That's like that's a 20-year gap, isn't it?
Yeah, they're all born in April and they're all 10 years apart. They're very organized.
Wow, that's okay. Now, as a parent, we've all had this experience, especially when our kids are little, especially when they're around the age of 6 years old. We all have experienced that moment where we look at our watch and we go, I'm running ahead of time. I got a half an hour before I got to get out the door. And they're already at the front door. And then we get in the car and we go, how am I 5 minutes late? We've all had that happen as parents, right? Now, reason why I share that is that would be a great that would be a great video to tell for any of us who've got going, oh my God, I cannot believe the day I had today. And share this story and share the kids' names and say exactly what happened. And you're not talking about cleaning at all.
I do share my kids' names all the time. My son is like, Mom, you have to stop talking about me.
Here's what
Because he's
ends up, so the
16.
names, because the names
He's
make
too
them real.
cool.
The names make them real, but here's what ends up happening. It's a weird piece of psychology. So first and foremost, we have to accept that as human beings, we are deeply flawed. We make decisions completely irrationally. You win the heart, the mind will follow. Once you've won somebody's heart, the mind will create justifications for doing the action. So it's all about winning the heart. And here's a weird thing that happens. And you can look this up. It's called, and it's really more for celebrities, but there's something to learn from this. You can look this up. It's called parasocial relationships. Okay, it's a real thing. Psychologists have studied it, and it's a relatively new phenomena. And what a parasocial relationship is when somebody feels like they have a relationship with you and they've never met you. So in other words, Kim Kardashian and people like that have it happen all the time where fans approach them in this very intimate manner and act with them like they know each other. Now, I know if you ask the person, they go, no, we don't know each other. We don't know that. But they behave and they feel in that manner. They actually feel like they have a relationship with this person they've never met. Here's how you create that. Here's how you create relationships with people that you've never, ever met. Shared experiences, shared beliefs, vulnerabilities, personal details, all of those things create parasocial relationships. And here's why. For the entire history of mankind, up until the last 30 years, maybe even less, if I knew somebody's weakness and if I knew the names of their kids and I knew their birth dates and I knew how their day went today, they are a member of my tribe. For the entire history of mankind, the only people you knew those details about was the person who lived next door to you or was in your village. Now today, we get that information about people that we have no idea about, but it ends up becoming that signal to us that we are close. And emotionally, I start feeling those connections with people. So what I encourage all of my clients to do is be vulnerable. Be vulnerable. Libby, you're way ahead of the curve. Be vulnerable, share those stories, and share things that have nothing to do with cleaning. Is that experience you had this morning? Somebody watches that and they go, especially something like the 6-year-old, because all of us have had that happen, where we're like, what the heck? I was a half an hour ahead of the game. How am I 5 minutes late? What happened? All we had to do is get the shoes on and the coat on. How is this possible? That's a shared experience. We all relate to it. We all go, yeah, been there. If we have kids, right?
And one of the things I do if I want to share an experience and I don't have that scenario, I borrow it from somebody else.
Sure.
So like for the business owners who don't have kids to talk about the 6-year-old, you could borrow my story and tell it.
Yeah. Well, what I'm
so
going to say is, if you don't have kids, then that's not the story. Tell your own personal stories, but it's about that. It's about that sharing, that starts to create those bonds with people, and actually go a long way to building trust. Now, I see one person saying they're an empty nester here. Can I borrow your kids? Libby, the deal I would make with them, they've got to take them for the weekend.
Yeah, you can have one of them. I got 3.
That's kind of you. Not all 3.
There you go. I just got you a weekend off, Libby. You owe me now.
The other thing I do in my videos is mention like local areas, like, hey, we went blah, 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 because that's going to connect with your local like area, or, oh, my son, he goes to Gateway High School. And people will comment on that. Oh, my son goes there too, or my daughter goes there
Yes.
too.
Yes.
So that really helps
And
the
it-
local areas as well.
all those shared things, right? Shared community, shared experience, right? All of that stuff. So those are the types of, and when I say tell them as a story, tell them as a story. Like give the weird details. Like it is let them feel the emotion of that moment and the frustration when you looked at your watch and you went, I cannot believe I was now 5 minutes late. Right? Let them feel it. So I hope that's helpful. But that's a little bit of what we'll be talking about. In Las Vegas. Is these ideas and getting into, again, a couple of very specific techniques that you can use to really bring those stories to life.
Well, that's great, Stephen. And you're a great storyteller too. Of just making us emotional about what we have to do, like making us want to take action on that. So that's really good. Um, if we can do a little bit of Q&A, if that would be okay. If I'm sure
Sure.
there's people with a lot of questions, but I am going to start off. So I have a question for you.
And what time are we running to?
Let's see. So we go an hour.
Okay.
Does that work for you, or do you have to get going?
I got like 15 minutes. We can.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you for being here. We appreciate that. So I have a question. You talked about short storytelling,
Yes.
and this is perfect timing for me because I'm actually working on a billboard campaign that will then filter into social media campaign and all of that. But the billboard, technically you're not supposed to have more than 7 words on it, and that kind of thing. So how do you tell a story in like when you have a still image, when you don't have video,
Okay.
you don't have that extended opportunity to tell the story?
Billboards are tough,
Hmm.
but billboards can be great.
Hmm.
So the first thing is there's a couple of different ways you can approach billboard, and you're right. It's like 7, 8 words. It's got to be
And they're
very
digital, so I can have multiple ones running and rotating.
right,
So,
but you still want to think about each one as standalone, right?
okay.
That's how I think you want to think about it. So there's a couple of different ways that you can use billboards. So you can use billboards as an extension of an existing campaign. So it's the whole idea of extending. You've got let's say you've got an existing radio campaign or local television campaign. A billboard tying back to that extends the reach of that existing campaign, and you don't have to tell the whole story. You just have to do something that refers back to that. The other thing you can do is you can do things in billboards that create curiosity. And then the whole idea is, no, I'm not telling the story, but I'm creating enough curiosity that somebody's going to want to figure out what's going on by going to my website. Like I saw one recently, small little billboard. I want to just find it here. Small little billboard when I was in LaGuardia Airport. And here's all it said: because you're so damn interesting. And it had a website. Now, do you have to visit that website? You do, right? Like, how can you not? That's an example. I did a billboard one time for a plumbing company, and we had a conversation going on between 2 people on the billboard. And so what it was a text message and a reply and a text message, and then one with 3 dots. Because we all know from our phones when that 3 dot is happening, somebody's replying to it. And every 2 weeks we changed the billboard and carried on the conversation between these 2 people.
Well, that's fun.
Right? But
really fun.
it created this curiosity and huge amount of social media posts and things along that. So you can also take a different tack with a billboard of saying, I'm not going to have I don't have enough space to carry the message, but I'm going to use that lack of space to drive some curiosity.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. That's so great. And now I'm dying to know, what was because you're so damn interesting. What was it? Did you look it up?
I did look it up. A clothing company.
Oh my
It
goodness.
was a
Yeah.
fashion company. Yeah.
Yeah. But it made you go there. So Okay, so let's look for a couple more questions. If you have a question, could you put question in the chat and then we can call on you because it's hard to have people.
And I see somebody
Okay.
here, Lacey Nash said something, I hate Steven Singer. Yeah, he's a jeweler, and man, he's had massive success from that campaign. I've had a couple of times, I've had opportunities to talk with Steven, and that campaign has been hugely successful. This whole I hate him campaign, which is a remarkable, very different approach for a jeweler, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right,
Some of
who
this
has
stuff
a
requires more-
question for Stephen? Who's working on something they need a little advice? Question. Okay, Andrew put one in the chat. What do you do if you don't have a strong extrovert to be a video personality or face of the company?
Okay. Some of the greatest performers of all time are deep introverts.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to say this again. Some of the greatest performers of all time are deep introverts. Introversion does not mean you can't do it. Introversion just means it takes more energy. It takes more energy. It may need to be a little bit more practiced. And what I'm going to also say, it's a muscle that just gets built. I know I go back to some of my early interviews and some of my early video postings, and they're terrible. It is like anything. It takes practice. The best thing you can do is do it on a continual basis, and then you will just get better at it. It's harder for an introvert because it requires more energy to do that, but they certainly can, and they can do it really, really well.
I hang around with a lot of musicians, and I have found that to be true. They get up on stage and they can just be crazy, and then when you sit in a room with them, they hardly say a word.
Yes.
So, yeah, they
Yeah.
use all their energy on stage.
Yes.
Let's
So they
see.
have to think
I'm-
about it more as a performance, and that's what it is. Yes.
Mm-hmm. All
I
right, we have
just
a
dropped a-
couple more questions.
I just dropped a great TED Talk on this topic for my introverts. It is really good, and she talks about the power of an introvert, and we need those things in life. Like, we need you. Believe it or not, Jeannie probably can contest to this. I am an introvert. Like, when we go places, you don't see me unless I have to be working or out or like on stage. I'm very quiet by nature, and I make myself do these things because it's what's needed. But I don't ever even leave my home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've had that same experience that Steven shared, and I know you probably have too, Libby, where the early videos that we made,
They're
5 years
horrible.
ago. Yeah, and I actually had people come up and tell me how horrible my early videos were. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so we get better at it the more we do it. So good advice.
do. It's
So
like
another
anything,
question
practice,
is storytelling in the direct mail space, specifically every door direct email, because discounts and special offers don't really seem to be doing the trick.
Okay. Does storytelling work in direct mail? Absolutely. It's not when you've got a great story, it'll work in any medium. You can make it work anywhere. You can make it work on television, you can make it work on radio, you can make it work in the written word as well. Absolutely. It's not the message is far more important. Getting your message down is far more important than what medium that you use to transport to deliver that message.
You can
And I
really
think
put a video on direct mail too, with a QR code, like,
you can.
you
Yeah.
know, you
Yeah.
know.
But we read stories all the time. We read
Mhm.
books, right? So the challenging part in any of these things is at the end of the day, it needs to be something that's entertaining, and it needs to start right out the gate with some sort of entertainment. Because people are busy, and it's the entertainment that's going to attract somebody's attention and pull them into whatever the story is.
That's great. Okay, one more question if you still have a few minutes.
But I just do want to come back one thing. I'm
Mhm.
gonna ask, 100% agree. It's very, very hard to build a business on the back of discounts and coupons and special offers. Because it erodes margin, and it does, and for you guys, you wanna have clients that are loyal and stick with you for a long period of time. When you attract people with discounts and coupons and offers, what you attract is a high percentage of people who are price sensitive, who the moment that they can find something else at a lower price will go to that lower price. And I understand there's this belief of, I get into the house, I'm going to do such a great job, they're suddenly no longer going to be price sensitive. That will happen with a very small percentage of the population. And how I can prove that out? Remember when Groupon was the next best thing to mankind? It was going to change the world of marketing. Well, where's Groupon today?
Oh, Lord.
I
Yeah.
hate Groupon.
Right, but it was built on.
That's
but it
one
was
of
built
my
on
horror
that idea.
stories in sales with that
Yeah.
Groupon. When you
Yeah.
turn that on, it was just horrific.
We did that
Right.
in the restaurant industry years ago, and it was a nightmare
Yeah.
for the business owners. It killed business owners is what it did.
Yes.
Instead of helping them. So, Bucola has a question about every cleaning starts with a story. Every cleaning request starts with a story. Can you think of a way that ties it all together for cleaning situations? So I guess the customer story, is that what you mean, Bucola?
Yes,
Saying your name, I'm probably
every
saying, I'm
cleaning,
probably
I'm
butchering your name.
relocating. I got to clean my house to hand it over to the landlord. I'm having a Thanksgiving event coming up. I got to clean after. There's a story behind, but is there one story that can tie all those situations together?
No, I actually think you've got multiple stories there, because as soon as we try to create those 10 stories and put them in one, no one connects to any of them. Right? So, and in the world today, putting out, even if you're creating an so let's say you're creating an advertising campaign. Let's say it doesn't matter whether it's radio, it doesn't matter whether it's direct mail, and you're wanting to share these stories. You're going to want a whole pile of them, because you need to, one piece of mail, one radio ad, one television commercial, one billboard that's up for 3 weeks is not going to move the needle. Right? A repetition is required. So a collection of stories helps drive that repetition.
Yeah. I love that thought though about every cleaning starts with a story. Those are a lot of great stories to capture and share as well.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then the key is, and this is like, I actually have got coming up in a couple of weeks a TED Talk that I'm going to be doing, and I'll be sharing this in Vegas. Is how do you really make that? What are the things you need to inject in to really make those stories really come alive, right? So they're not just they're not a dry set of facts that's a beginning, a middle, and an end, but really and truly a story. And I'll give you one tip that you can take away. Weird details that don't matter turn things into a story. So taking Libby's story of getting the kids out the door, you could say it this way, saying, what's your daughter's name, Libby?
Yeah.
Yaya. Okay, so I'm at the door with Yaya. I'm looking at my watch. Things are going great. We've got a half an hour. All I've got to do is get her boots on and her jacket on and get her out the door. I get out the door. I sit down in the car. I look at the watch and I go, what the heck just happened? I'm 5 minutes late. How did that occur? Okay, that's a series of facts. It's not bad. Has a little bit of interest to it. Or you can inject some weird details that don't matter. Getting Yaya out the door, I look at my watch. We've got a half hour to go. Time's great. All I have to do is get on her boots and her coat, and we're all good. And today she's decided that she wants to wear her favorite pink boots with the yellow flowers on them.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Made it a story.
Made people bring it up in their mind as a picture, because
Right.
we all
And
know
now-
Yaya, because we've all seen pictures of her if you know Libby.
And
So
we can all picture those pink boots with the yellow flowers on them. We create that picture in our mind, but we're now involved in and it's a completely unimportant piece of information.
Yeah, that's great.
You inject a couple of those little unimportant pieces of information, especially things that make it now concrete, and suddenly it becomes a more vibrant story. And that's the part that people skip over, like in terms of the telling, and those are the parts that make it a story.
I love that. I love that. Well, that is so great, Stephen. Yeah, I took pages of notes while you were talking today. I really appreciate you being here with us. We're so excited to have you speaking at the ISSA show and getting to meet you there in person. Everybody, please give Stephen some love and
And
gratitude.
I'm also going to have a booth at the show, so come by the booth.
Oh, wonderful. That's even better. Even better.
Yeah.
We get to have you the whole time. That's
Yep,
so
yep,
great.
they're there for the whole
We're
time.
used to speakers like popping in and popping out. So that's so great that you're hanging around. That's great. Well, it'll be good
Yep.
to meet you. All right. Well, thank you again. We appreciate you being here. And I think that you're going to build a lot of great relationships right here in our residential cleaning community. So we'll see you at the ISSA show.
I look forward to it, and bring lots of questions.
Right. We will.
All right.
Well,
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. And Jeannie, we have another guest that hopped on here. We have Victoria Yassam, who is going to be also speaking at the ISSA show. Now,
wonderful.
Victoria is our guest for November Coffee and Conversation, so we don't want to give too much away. But I wanted to let Victoria come on and give us a little preview. And then,
Oh, great.
Victoria, if you want to even do a breakout room today, we love to do breakout rooms at the end of Coffee and Conversation and invite some of our speakers to come aboard. So if you want to give a little preview of your session, then maybe you could do a breakout room. And then she will be our guest for the November Coffee and Conversation as we lead up to the ISSA show.
I know. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Victoria.
I was so
Hi.
afraid I wasn't going to be able to make it, but I did, and I'm late, so I'm so sorry about that. But I'm super excited for the ISSA show. I too, I'm not getting a booth, but I will be there the entire time because why not, right? It's Vegas. Like, let's have some fun. So what I'm going to be talking about during our workshop is like how to utilize social media to grow your business and get more leads through ad campaigns. So it's going to be a really, really good presentation. I've been working on it for a while. I'm super excited to give it to you guys. So yeah, like that's just like a tiny little preview. I don't know, Erin, if you wanted me to get into any more or like.
You could do if you want a few takeaways, a little bit, because it's, the whole idea. And then if anybody has questions for Victoria, please ask them, because that's obviously this is Coffee and Conversation.
Yeah, let's talk. I love it.
Yeah.
So a little bit about what I'll be getting into in that presentation. I'm speaking the 20th. I almost said October 20th. I can't believe we're in October right now. But I'll be speaking November 20th. And I believe the time slot is like 3 to 3:30. So definitely put that on your show planner.
You are speaking from 2:30 to 3:30, and I
There
just
we
put a link to your session into the
Thank
chat so
you.
people can take a look at the full details for what your session is about. And then following Victoria's session is when we're going to have, and we can talk about this afterwards, but we're going to do our live Coffee and Conversation.
Oh, that's so exciting. Yeah. So yeah, come see me. It's going to be a great workshop. One of the things that I'm really hoping you guys will take away is like how to actually run ad campaigns properly and get leads from it and how to come up with those marketing campaigns. I own 2 businesses. I know it's very hard to be in your all shoes and to do the operations while trying to hire and all of this kind of stuff, right? And so really what I tried to do with this presentation is make it like very easy, wrapped in a bow. You can take it home and do it. Very, very simple. So yeah, we're super excited to do this. I can't wait to come out there. And this is my first conference actually out there. I found out that sometimes people come back for these and I was like, oh, I want to come back. Like I already want to come back. I know it's going to be so much fun. So I can't wait to meet you guys there. Is it okay if I put my contact information in the chat in case anyone has questions they don't want to ask on here? Okay. So I'll put that in there. You're more than welcome to reach out to me. But yeah, I'm totally down to do a breakout room as well. Never done one here, but I'm down to try. So yeah, that's it. Does anyone have any questions for me?
If anyone has a question, we have a few minutes. If you want to just unmute, we'll try that and see if we can just do it live. Maybe have
Hey,
a-
Victoria, what's the craziest avatar that you've had one of your clients run by you?
Oh God. That's a good question. I have to think about one. Like the craziest, like where I had to talk them down, or the craziest,
Either
like,
way.
okay. Oh God, way to put me on the spot, Beth.
Sorry.
That's fine. For everyone looking or watching, I've known Beth for quite a while now, so
I
of
felt
course
like
she
there
would
was
put me
some
on the-
familiarity there.
Yeah, of course you would put me on the spot. Well, I would
I
say,
know one
like,
that I can kind of queue up for you, but this isn't a crazy one. We had a guy in our networking group and his dog talking about telling a story. His dog rides around with him, would go on the job sites, and his dog told his story and got like so many social media follows and likes. It was crazy. That's
yeah,
one,
social
yeah.
media is amazing for pets and babies, if you can incorporate that. But I'm trying to think, like, so the avatar specifically, which is something I'll get into in the presentation, but it's really kind of narrowing down your target market. The fight I always have, I'll get into that because I'm trying to think of like an actual avatar, but I can't think of anything too crazy. But a lot of the times when it comes to talking about avatars and target markets, people are like, oh, I can market to everyone. And it's like, no, that's not really how that works, right? So things that appeal to me might appeal to you or to Beth totally differently. And when you blanket market like that, it doesn't really do what you want it to do when it comes to like ad campaigns. So there was one time, real estate agents are the worst with that. Like we had a client, he's a real estate agent, nice guy. We're still friends to this day. But me and him got in a full on argument one time because we wish I was kidding. He was trying to tell me, he's like, I can help everyone. I'm like, that's great, Mike. I totally love that for you. But like your marketing campaign cannot be a blanket marketing campaign. And so one of the things that I have for the presentation, which is a handout, is kind of helping you figure out your avatar, right? So anyone that comes to the presentation, they get like a piece of paper where they can write all this stuff down. Well, you only usually have like 1, 2, maybe 3 of those. Mike took like the whole damn stack and he was like, I can help everyone. I was like, no, honey, no, you can't, right? So I had to like talk him down off of the ledge a little bit and we wound up figuring it out. But so instead of like crazy avatars, I've had more of those situations where I have to like dig my heels in and I'm like, I do this for a living. I have a degree in this. Like you cannot tell me otherwise. But yeah, I love the dog story, like for social media. And that's like sales 101, right? And I think from what I caught from Steven's like last bit of his presentation, like stories are phenomenal. Like I've been in sales and marketing for 15 years now. And I always win the sale by telling a story, like always. So 100%, I think that's phenomenal. I think there's a question. Hold on.
There it is. Yeah. When you can help most everyone, how do you determine what your ideal avatar is?
So Lacey, that's a really good question. And it's something we'll get into in Vegas for sure. But to kind of answer the question in a quick way, I tell people usually like pick your favorite client, the one that pays their bills on time, right? Because we all want to get paid. That's why we're here. One that is very easy to work with, and then we're going to market to them. Or like if there's something specific where your business has a hole, so say you're missing a segment in like townhomes, right, in your area, then we can kind of figure out an avatar for that. But I usually baseline is come up with like your actual favorite client that you've worked with and then kind of build on from there. And so for being in commercial and residential cleaning, so fun fact, I actually used to work in commercial and commercial cleaning. I used to be a sales rep for a national commercial cleaning firm. And I was their top sales rep, and I actually wound up quitting because they couldn't place the jobs that I was selling. I was selling so quickly. So I actually know your industry very, very well. I worked it for a long time. And so coming up with like your actual avatar, it's going to depend on what kind of marketing campaign. And it's all stuff I'm going to get into in Vegas, but I would say bottom line, find your favorite client and duplicate that, right? Like, so say Bree, just because your picture's on here right now. If I'm trying to market to Bree and her business, and like, you're my favorite client, I love working with you. Why would I not want to duplicate you, right? Like, we're looking at price points that they're spending with you, their personality, they pay their bills on time, all of that kind of stuff. And then like, Bree, I want more of Bree. So how do I get more of Bree? Creating marketing campaigns for Bree, right? So Lacey, I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, let me know. But it's definitely something I'll be talking about in Vegas.
Great. Well, we're very excited to have you as one of our speakers and to have you as our featured guest next month for Coffee and Conversation. So
yes, I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great. So everybody bring your social media marketing questions next month as we have Victoria here. Libby, do you have any announcements before we go into breakouts or anything else you wanted to share?
No, I just love all these marketing topics because I think it's very timely, especially with us feeling a little bit of resistance with buyers and wanting more value. They're more value focused, price sensitive. At least in my own cleaning company, we're doing a well, I've already done it, but a total tear down and rebuild of our marketing efforts and budgeting. So it's very timely.
Yeah, no, it is good. I'm excited too. I did want to mention before we go, yesterday I worked with the Cleaning for a Reason team and hosted a fundraising rally with several of our Cleaning for a Reason partners. How many people here are Cleaning for a Reason partners? I see lots of hands going up. That's awesome. Thank you so much for participating. I know some of you were with us yesterday during our webinar. And so I want to encourage you, if you are a Cleaning for a Reason partner and you want to get more involved and you want your community to really take notice of the fact that you are participating in Cleaning for a Reason and help to spread awareness, actually fundraising helps with that. It may not be something that you would think about, but fundraising in your community shows how dedicated you are to your cause. And so watch for more information. So we have a great contest going on for our fundraisers in our fundraiser rally where you can win a $5,000 coaching package with the Cleaning for a Reason partner, Debbie Sardone. So the prize will be half day of one-to-one coaching with Debbie Sardone and 2 tickets to her annual event, CBF Live, plus a $500 gift card to Direct Mop Sales. So get involved with fundraising and you could win some great coaching. And Libby and I know all about that because Debbie's our coach. So let's go into breakouts. Erin, you want to do that?
We can. I wanted to, and I put a couple links in for the ISSA show. I want to remind everybody that, well, the early bird pricing for the show ended. You can still register for the show. I'm putting a link up right now. In a second here, I'll put a link up for the residential schedule. Like our residential committee did a great job of, identifying some new speakers. We have Stephen Semple. We had Trent Lowenstein on a couple weeks ago. We have Victoria Yassin this year. So lots of new faces and some familiar faces as well. We have Liz Trotter speaking. And we usually have Liz Trotter. She always does that Thursday, the last day. And she does a great job of keeping the energy going, as we bring the show to a close. So she's going to be talking about some things that your managers are doing to kill your business. So, really a fun topic. The last day we talked a little bit about, we're doing our live coffee and conversation on Wednesday at 3:30 at the show. And part of that programming, we're going to talk about training. We're going to do just some Q&A with the audience, but we're also going to do our presentations for our professional image awards, our residential professional cleaner of the year and our office team member of the year. And we have selected the winners. We'll announce those. A release will be going out soon, and we'll do, hopefully be able to recognize them at the November Coffee and Conversation as well as at the ISSA show. So there's a lot going on at the ISSA show. It is jam-packed from beginning to end, but I encourage you, if you haven't registered, I have never, ever talked to anybody that regretted going. In fact, what I get complaints about is there's too many options to choose from. So that's a good problem to have.
I did have one more thing to add.
Yeah.
Is a group of us software owners are doing a kind of an evening fun event. It's at the Speakeasy or the Mob Museum. It is a costume, like dress up. We're gonna have a costume contest, but it is a residential party. We have buses chartered, catering ready, and it's gonna be Wednesday night of that show week.
Do you have, if you have a
but-
link, Libby, put that in the chat so that anybody that, and then if you haven't shared that, go ahead and put that on the Facebook page and I'll make sure, because we should get that out there as well. Because, you know, that's one of the things that happens in the evenings. Like we have stuff going on all day, every day. We have our residential roundtables at the end of the day, Monday. But then I know a lot of the different industry partners, you know, plan events while we're out in Vegas. So it's fun. It's quality driven. I think this is Martha Woodward and Libby, and you're doing it. And who else?
Yeah.
Summer from
That's what I
the
thought.
cleaning software, and Drew from Larison Media,
Okay.
and Ricky with Route.
Okay.
Yeah. Marlo's
Great.
quick. She got that link in there fast.
Thank you.
Yeah, look at
Marlo.
that.
I'm over here trying to look for it in my
It's
group
on
with
there.
I think
Yes, I do believe
Marlo
that,
beat us. Yeah.
I do believe that the availability is narrowing down, so
yes, there's only
act
100
now
tickets.
because they will sell out.
Mhm.
These things always do. So yes,
Yeah. People always regret. They're like, how did you get to go to that party? It's like, because I bought my ticket early. So
Or you hosted it.
or hosted it, yeah. Or you host it. But yeah, so make sure and join that. And also, if you haven't signed up for the show, you won't regret it. And by far, one of the best things is getting to see all of you in person. Relationships just get stronger when we spend time in the same space together. So looking forward to that. Well, thank you
Okay.
everyone for being here.